and I help produce a show about motorsports. I ride a variety of on- and off-road motorcycles, and the one thing that's in common to all of them is that they were designed with a woman in mind. With a growing female motorcycle demographic, it would be really nice if there were more options for us, and none of which involve using the color pink. I don't really want to be singled out as special or different. But let's face it, my shape, my size, and the amount of weight I'm willing to toss around is not the same as the average guy. To find out what modifications can be done to make a bike fit better, I spoke with my friend Dave Richardson in Seattle.
It's a funny thing how, you and I could get in the same car and just with a little adjustment of the seat, it would fit us. But motorcycles, even though they're made mostly in Asia and Italy, where people that aren't the tallest people in the world, generally don't fit shorter people. And I wouldn't ever want to say to you, choose a bike that fits you if it's not the bike you like. So what I want to talk about more here, Juliette, is how to adapt a bike to make it more comfortable for you. And in adapting, some things will be easy, some things will be cheap, some things will be expensive, some things will really be trade-offs. You have to say, boy, how much do I really want to make this bike fit me, or am I willing to give up a little bit of comfort to get to where I can actually ride the bike? So there'll be a lot of little subjects here, and some of them will apply to all bikes and some to just certain bikes. So let's start off with the most obvious thing, is where you put your hands on the handlebars. This bike has a fairly low handlebar, and so for two people with a different height from the waist up, the taller you are, the easier it is to reach those handlebars. Now, a bike like this that has a much more upright riding position, our vertical height wouldn't make as much difference. Our arm length would. So one thing that comes into play is, can you reach the bars to where it feels comfortable for you? Some people would say this bike, like I own this very same model, and it's very comfortable to me. But for shorter riders, it may be a bit of a stretch to reach that handlebar. There are things that can be done about that. For instance, for some bikes, you can get little risers. A riser like this would go under the handlebar, and then the handlebar on top of that, and this would clamp it down so that the bar is up a little bit higher. So that's an easy thing that can be done to adapt to a shorter person. Another thing is, if you see a tubular handlebar like this, looks very much like a bicycle handlebar. This type of bar in the diameter that is very common, 7/8 inch or 22 millimeter, there's a variety of bars available, not just from the bike's manufacturer, but in the aftermarket. Sometimes there's as little as $20, $50, something like that. So you can buy a different bar that can make the bike fit you better. Now, caution when you do that. Everything else is kind of fitted to the bar. There's a hose for the brake, there's the cable that works the throttle, there's all the electrical wires. Most bikes, there's room to put on a higher bar and all that will stretch a little bit. Some bikes, you won't be able to. Now, if you're going to do the experiment yourself, you might be spending money on things that you really can't use. Luckily, in this age, we have internet forums, chat groups, owners associations where you can ask, hey, I need to do this, has anyone done it? And you'll probably get more responses than you care to read. So that would be the first thing to adapt. The next thought is the diameter of where you hold on. Generally speaking, boy, I hope I don't get called a male chauvinist pig for this, but women are typically smaller, weaker, have smaller hands. If a grip is too large, I mean, I've had the same problem myself on bikes. A large grip will tire out my hand more quickly. So you can buy the hand grips from manufacturers other than the bike manufacturer. In fact, they're usually a lot less expensive. If you get a smaller grip, it'll usually be easier on your hand. Also, think about the gloves that you wear. If your gloves are very thick, that's the same as having a very large grip. For instance, I have a grip here to show you as a comparison. That grip is much larger in diameter than the ones on this bike. This grip might be fine for me, but for you it might cramp you up to ride with it all day long. So there's a thought, look for the thinner grips, look for thinner gloves. And you might say, well, if I have a thin glove, my hands are going to get cold. Well, there's things you can do about that. There are hand guards on dirt bikes that would cover the front of the lever and the grip, and sometimes they make them to fit street bikes as well. Sometimes you can adapt one. Another thought is to put hot grips on your bike. Heated grips, they make them as specific kits for certain bikes, and there's an aftermarket kit that fits anything. So there's ways of making your hands warm without necessarily having big, thick mittens on all the time.